Hi, my name's Parkerbliss. You may recognize me as Demi Waters on Conundrum Company, and I'm here to catch you up on the story thus far. Just a note, if you haven't watched through episode 23 or checked out the original recap video, make sure to do that before you check out this one. At the end of their break, Morton elected to check in on Wanderroot and brought Peach along to return Kiara's family sword. After a short flight in eagle form, they arrived to find the Silverwood ablaze. Diving into Brule, they found the occupants dead and the settlement on fire with a path cut into the forest. Following the path, they discovered a corrupted Wanderroot, apparently corrupted by the magic of the Shadowfowl, engaged in combat with a humanoid on a griffin. After a few very close calls, the group escaped with the Griffin Rider, a shifter named Moon, baiting Wanderroot towards the Dreadwood. They alerted Demi via message, who gathered Zal and Oceanus and set forth on a 3-day-long journey to join the rest of their party. Over the next few days, Peach, Morton, and Moon had short conflicts with Wanderroot, taking turns to rest among the elven refugees they'd rescued from the Silverwood. When Zal and Demi arrived, they were informed that Peach and Morton were facing down Wanderroot. They easily tracked down their party members, who were engaged with the giant tree on the outskirts of the Dreadwood. Once reunited, they felled the corrupted treant and returned to the refugees, aiding them before returning to Saltmarsh. Having shared what they learned of Brule with the Council of Saltmarsh, they sat down with Monastrad for a drink. Monastrad alluded to some work for the Crown that she was hoping to get their help with. The dwarf suggested something was off about the job, which turned out to be moving a strange ancient throne of obsidian to the capital. The throne, standing nearly 15 feet tall, had been locked in a Duragar vault that Monastrad's mining company had unearthed. Someone at the court had asked for the throne to be brought to the capital, Neil Draw, though who had asked was unclear. The crew inspected the vault before returning to Conundrum Isle. Upon returning home, they found several Eldrin of the Fey Court waiting for them. They requested that Morton return with them to the Feywild to fill them in on the incident surrounding Wanderroot. The Firbolg opted to depart with the Eldrin, promising to catch up with his friends shortly. The remaining party mulled over the request for the evening, worried that something strange was afoot. Monastrad had offered help in the form of a companion who knew a little about ancient relics. They agreed to the job the following morning and picked up their new friend Dravosi at her home in Saltmarsh. They made their way to retrieve the relic and delved once more into the Duragar vault. During their second investigation, they made note of some strange writings on the arch before returning to the surface. Once back, they begrudgingly loaded the relic onto their ship and set sail for Tyrant's Landing. After narrowly escaping a terrible magical storm through some deft maneuvering of their ship, the party arrives at the town of Tyrant's Landing. Morton had stepped from the Feywild into the town the night before and was patiently awaiting them. Together once more, they secured a large river barge. Having loaded their strange cargo onto the vessel, they began their 7-day journey up the River Draw to the capital. On the second night of their journey, the party was assailed under the cover of darkness. Zal fell before the fight began as an assassin slit his throat on his solo watch. Zal's corpse was left on the deck as the hooded individuals laid out a greater portable hole and began pushing the throne towards it. The sound rose Morton, who raised the alarm. Peach carried Zal to Dravosi, who began the process of returning their warlock from the beyond. As this occurred, the hooded figures managed to push the throne into the hole. Morton dove in after it, managing to use a clever application of polymorph to push it out. The figures saw the throne pushed back out and so swept in to close the portable hole, sealing Morton inside. The figure with the hole began to flee, with Demi and Peach in close pursuit. Newly revived Zal, along with Dravosi, faced down the remaining assassin. The two aboard the barge slew their foe, but despite incredible efforts from Peach and Demi, the assassin with Morton managed to escape. The last few moments consisted of a sad message shared between Morton and Demi. Feeling defeated and fretting over the loss of their dear friend, the party searched for Morton but were unable to find the Firbolg or his captor. After some scrying, they were able to ascertain he was at the very least still alive, though captured in some strange place. They elected to forge forward as Morton had requested in their final correspondence. They traveled northwest along the River Draw to the great capital of Keolan. The party had elected to deliver the throne not to the court of King Skodi, but to Dravosi's powerful ally awaiting in the catacombs. Their cleric companion introduced the party to Mabanon and the Order of the Unmarked, who organized to have the throne sealed away in the catacombs' strange vaults. Dravosi revealed that she believed that the scribe god of the Pantheon of Death, known as Erigol, was now dead. Mabanon shared that if this were true, then the machine of death, the process by which the dead were transported to the appropriate plane, was broken. This in turn could cause untold damage not only to the prime material plane, but also all other planes. They discussed next steps, identifying that there were two primary courses of action. A, to find out what had happened to the clergy of Erigol, and B, to identify who in the court was looking for the throne. Dravosi set out on the first task, bidding the party farewell and heading north. This left the party to complete the final task. They made their way into the catacombs' vast magical library, where they became acquainted with an eccentric white dragonborn going by the name of Salvatore. Conversation with the dragonborn revealed that he might be in search of the same artifact as the party, though Salvatore revealed that there were more than one. A rod, crown, map, and some sort of weapon were all connected to this throne and the ancient empire of Ganoth that had fallen long ago. All of these things seemed to be connected to the fall of Erigol. With the throne secured and some new information acquired, the party set out to find out who was after the throne in the king's court. They prepared themselves over a few days, continuing research and acquiring the appropriate attire before setting off for the palace. They were greeted with a hero's welcome. There were questions about what had been done with the throne, but the king seemed to trust Mabanon. The party was introduced to various members of the court, including Lady Ainsley Grazia of Grand March, an individual whom the party was very wary of. Scaran Wavechaser had left a cryptid message with Demi, suggesting they avoid the schoolteacher, and Ainsley matched the profile of this individual. The lady herself was close with the king's son, Prince Whitby Skodi, and she admitted to having been the one interested in the throne. The lady even went as far as to delve into Zal's mind mid-conversation, in the hopes of digging up more information on the relic. Having been granted rooms in the castle, a grand feast was held in the party's honor. The whole court turned out for the merrymaking, in which Peach shared a poem and the royal feast was had. During the festivities, Zal asked Ainsley to dance, and she happily obliged. Through some vile application of magic, Ainsley was able to charm Peach through her dancing, but what came next was far worse. As the lady attempted to press Peach for information, Scaran made an appearance. Messaging Demi from the roof of the palace, he indicated that she should meet him in the Forbidden King's Wing. With no other option than to leave Peach behind with Salvatore, Demi made for that wing with Zal in tow. They slipped past the guards to find Scaran waiting for them in front of the doors to Ainsley's quarters. He offered them information on Morton in return for their help in taking down Ainsley, who he confirmed was a member of his order. As they began to investigate the room, they unknowingly triggered a ward alerting Ainsley to what they were up to. Ainsley excused herself from the party, bringing the young Prince Skodi along. Worried Salvatore and Peach followed suit. As the party in Ainsley's quarters discovered a hidden chest, the woman arrived, threatening the prince even as she looked to use him as a means of painting the party as guilty. What followed was pure chaos as combat broke out between the party, Scaran, and Ainsley. The party wisely chose prioritizing the life of the prince, but as they confronted Ainsley, Scaran made off with a chest's worth of information that the lady had been concealing. Quick thinking by Salvatore found Ainsley without the child as a shield, trapped in her own quarters as the party bared down on her. A vicious fight ended with the lady dead. Scaran leapt from the balcony of the room, casting Fly and taking off towards the River Draw. Each threw themselves from the balcony in pursuit. A terrifying mid-air combat followed as the two grappled with one another, teleporting through the air with Zal in hot pursuit. Scarron broke free and fled, leaving Peach plummeting hundreds of feet down towards the Great River. Once again, the party wisely prioritized saving lives, as Zal selected to pursue Peach rather than chasing Scarron. He found them breaking the water, bloodied and broken, but still alive. The Warlock's celestial powers allowed for some quick healing before they carried them back to the room of Ainsley. Back in the ladies' room, Salvatore returned Whitby to this plane just as guards arrived. Demi began consoling the child, hoping to negate any trauma the evening's events might have caused. With Scarron gone and Ainsley dead, the party now finds themselves facing the king and a contingency of guards, all of whom appear equal parts mortified and confused on what has happened this evening. And that's the story thus far. You are now caught up to episode 32 of Conundrum Company. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the episodes before 23, this was a recap of 23 to 32. You can check out the first recap on our YouTube channel, as well as all the recordings of Conundrum Company. If you'd like to watch us live, you can catch us on Saturdays, 6 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/thewelcomein. We'll be happy to have you.